Hey, this is Tommy John, and you're listening to the Sports Circus.
Welcome to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP.TV. Today's show is brought to you by UppercutChops.com. Check out their tasty selection of all-natural, dry-aged USDA prime Wagyu steaks and chops. Wait till you taste their best-in-class New York steaks, the filet mignon, of course, the king of all, those gigantic cowboy cut and tomahawk cut ribeyes. Best I've ever had, best you'll probably ever have as well. Check them out at UppercutChops.com. That's UppercutChops.com. Or give a call and find out what's for dinner. Give me a call. I'll let you know. 702-799-9935, 702-799-9935. Again, 702-799-9935 for UppercutChops.com. All right, welcome in to everybody listening in on our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates, plus our independents from coast to coast. Everybody watching Cox, Comcast, Spectrum, Frontier, Oceanic, Time Warner, and WOW Cable TV in select markets. Thanks for joining us. Also on Hotel TV in all Nielsen-rated markets. That's about 210 of them. And, of course, everybody else watching on Facebook, right? We got to include them on Chicago Food Favorites. How do you like that? It's the only page that I know of that gets regular national television and radio attention. It's a page for fun. Post your favorite recipes, your favorite restaurants. I don't give a damn. It's just fun. I started the page, 7 months ago, whatever. I think we have about 1,200 people participating. Nonetheless, it's fun. It's free. You don't have to do anything with it. Just enjoy it. Maybe you like your favorite food recipes out there posted. I don't know. Your favorite restaurants. Just have some fun with it and tell them the circus sent you. All right, that's basically what you'd be telling me. All right, so how about this? How about some NCAA football? It's not too early for that. The report is Florida State and Clemson are believed to have had preliminary discussions with the Big 12 Conference. Now, that's kind of interesting. So we got more on the Big 12 in just a minute here. I mean, look, is there another path for the Seminoles in the conference realignment world? I don't know. I mean, this is something fresh out of No Game Day through Sports Illustrated. We got to make sure we give everybody a little bit of credit here. And of course, Florida State really got the short end of the stick in the last alleged CFP playoffs. Nonetheless, as Sports Illustrated reads, Florida State is in the middle of a war against the ACC where multiple shots have been fired from Tallahassee and from Charlotte over the past few months. And that has the rumor mill hotter than ever, with the Seminoles having an opportunity in front of them to secure their future with another conference. And of course, for me, I'm going to shout out a big chorus of boos on that one because, look, I'm an ACC guy as far as graduate school, right? I'm a Duke guy. And honestly, it's a little upsetting to hear that one of the members of the ACC would consider migrating, let alone two of them. Nonetheless, the obvious destinations are the Big Ten or SEC, with the ever-growing gap in television revenue. Yet, they did mention the Big 12, and we'll get to that. However, could there be another path for Florida State that puts the program in a different Power 4 conference, which, of course, is going to imply the Big 12? Now, while speaking on a show with Big 12 reporter John Kurtz, Yahoo Sports revealed that he thinks the conference has preliminary discussions with Florida State and Clemson. Now, what do you think about that? So now the Tigers are also involved in a separate lawsuit against the Atlantic Coast Conference. So you can see the conundrums getting bigger and crazier. So at the same time, Dellinger believes that the top options for Florida State, and by the way, in case you don't know who Dellinger is a reporter that we've basically just omitted because we don't need to. That's the Yahoo Sports guy, right? So I said Yahoo Sports, that's who Dellinger is. Anyway, so here, let's leave it this way. At the same time, Yahoo Sports believes that the top option for Florida State after Clemson is to ultimately land in the SEC or the Big Ten. And it's always worth keeping multiple alternatives on the table in the event that something doesn't work out or something weird happens, or who knows. I mean, it is money, right? That's how you got to look at this. It's money. It's what does the money want? So Yahoo Sports says, quote, you look at the Florida State and Clemson's options. The first option would probably be to get into the Big Ten or the SEC. The second option would be in some way to reform the ACC with smaller number of teams where you'd get a financial advantage because you wouldn't split the TV revenue 18 different ways, whatever, and maybe you would split it with 10. So they could reform in a smaller group. Option 3 is to probably join another league, and there's only one other power conference league that's remaining, which is the Big 12. So you look at those options, and again, they probably prefer number 1, but I don't know that's going to happen because the SEC has schools in those states already in Florida and South Carolina. The Big Ten, I don't know how interested they are in coming south. I mean, those things might happen. Close quote. All right, before I move on, I want to take a look at that. So if they say, would the Big Ten consider coming south? Of course they would. Why? It's more TV revenue. But the Big Ten already owns major markets, right? Let's think about this. The Big Ten has presence from coast to coast, from New York, the New Jersey market through Rutgers, all the way out to Los Angeles. That's right. So they've got the number 1 market, the number 2 market. They're based in Chicago, the number 3 market. I mean, really, what more do they need? Oh, that's right, a bigger footprint. And I'm a Big Ten guy on top of it for undergrad. So now this is a real big conundrum. And here we go. See, there's my Big Ten. Everybody watching on TV, there's a Purdue helmet right here. And look at here. There's a Duke helmet right there. All right, so the reality is this. If they start shopping around and basically comparing and contrasting to see what's out there, well, the bigger problem lies with what are we trying to achieve besides money? Money is money, right? We all know that. But we ask ourselves, how important is money? Is there any value for the university outside of TV contracts? Recruiting is going to be diluted. Now, the Big Ten already recruits down in Florida. So imagine them having Florida State and Clemson, the 2 football prize beacons. Of course, that only leaves Miami to join the party as well, right? So that would be the 3 down there. They'd have to probably drag Miami with them as well. But ultimately, because you want that Miami market if you're going to be in Florida, because really it's either the Tampa, Orlando market or the Miami market. That's it. Those are the ones revenue-wise that really make the most sense. And from a recruiting standpoint, a lot of talent comes out of Central Florida. And so does it make sense for the Big Ten to expand into Florida? Yes, it does, 100%. South Carolina only because the Clemson brand is there. That's it. There's no other real reason for them to move into South Carolina. So let's go on with this Yahoo quote. I think there's I think there is at least early conversations between the Big 12 and those schools about the possibility. I don't know that it's anything serious, but yet because they don't have to get out of the ACC, whether that's through a settlement or court ruling. So we could be months, if not years away from something. But that does seem to be one of the possibilities is the Big 12, close quote. Now look, the Big 12 is easily going to be the third choice on the table here. The first choice is going to be the SEC because logically speaking, they're right in the heart of SEC country. That makes the most sense. The Big Ten would love to get their hands in there to expand the TV market, expand the recruiting to right there. They're already in everyone's backyard. But now if you add the Florida market, now the Big Ten is in the pocket of the SEC. That, in my opinion, the first destination would be the Big Ten. So there's about $30 million margin in revenue per school each year between the SEC and Big Ten compared to the Big 12, though. So with that being said, the conference is exploring a naming rights deal with Allstate and a dive into private equity per Yahoo. So those moves could put the Big 12 in a position to offer Florida State the money it's looking for on the open market. And it comes with a catch, though, as the conference would probably need to introduce unequal revenue sharing to make it work. something that might be a hard sell to administrators. Well, guess what? We already see that with Notre Dame. Those guys already get unequal money. They get money for just existing. It's complete lunacy, in my opinion. Those guys, in my opinion, are taking money where they shouldn't be taking money. But then again, what do I know? I'm just a guy on air. Nonetheless, Yahoo continues on with, quote, not only would you have to maybe help them get out, but then you'd have to pay them in distribution when they get to a league an amount that is at least close to what the SEC and Big Ten are paying their schools. The Big 12 gets mid-30s, just call it $40 million per year. $40 million a year per school in distribution, and the SEC and Big Ten is more like $70 million. So you talk about this NIL stuff. Here we go, folks. So of course, which that number will go up, according to Yahoo. So if you do use financial equity or whatever financial means to get Florida State or Clemson, is the Big 12 administration or the administrators okay? Are they okay with unequal revenue distribution? And would they be okay with paying Florida State or Clemson $10 to $20 million more per year than everybody else? And that's a question I don't know the answer to, except that they say they would probably be hard to convince them in a room to do that. But if it means adding blue blood football powers that you need, maybe that's the shot. Now, look, there's a lot of murky water going on here. There's a lot of stuff going on. I'll tell you, when we come back, we're going to just chop this up a little bit more. Back here in a few minutes on The Circus. Lots more to come. Don't go anywhere.
Attention business owners, you and your customers are listening to this right now. Face it, every business needs customers, even yours. The Sports Circus is a primetime nationally syndicated program that's carried on ABC, NBC, CNBC, and Westwood One News affiliates, plus CBS, Fox, and NBC sports affiliates across North America, with coverage from Hawaii to New York. Also, the Sports Circus is available to the 180 million subscribers on iHeartRadio, and the Sports Circus gets about 4 million website visitors per month, which could click through your website and bring sales. The Sports Circus provides great content featuring celebrity guests from sports and entertainment to our audience every weekday, which your company could greatly benefit from by increasing your visibility, foot traffic, eyeballs to your website, and calls from potential customers. Call us right now at 702-799-9935. Again, 702-799-9935. Or email us at info@thesportscircus.com. That's info@thesportscircus.com. Drive your sales today by advertising with the Sports Circus.
Could you use a little extra money right now? If you'd like to borrow up to $100,000 and get pre-approved in minutes, call the number we'll give you at the end of this commercial. Our lending partners have already loaned millions of dollars to individuals just like you, and we're ready to lend you up to $100,000 if you qualify. Even if your credit is not perfect, you could use the money to pay off high-interest credit cards, for home renovations, or consolidate existing debt. You can get flexible, easy-to-pay terms. The consultation to find out if you qualify is free. To find out if you qualify for our special financing program, call this toll-free number 24 hours a day. 800-335-1376. 800-335-1376. 800-335-1376. That's 800-335-1376. Important terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Loan amount, annual percentage rate, and term will vary depending on creditworthiness. Applying does not guarantee approval. Account approval is subject to verification and confirmation of your credit history and acceptance by a lender. If you choose to apply for a loan through us, a consumer report will be obtained to evaluate your creditworthiness in connection with your application for credit.
That's the sound of sizzling, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks from UpperCutChops.com. Their best-in-class filet mignons, New York steaks, and the king of all steaks, the tomahawk and cowboy cut ribeyes are the best in the business. Even their Prime Wagyu burgers will likely be the best you've ever had. Browse the full selection of steaks and chops at UpperCutChops.com from the comfort of your home or on your mobile device. UpperCutChops.com delivers all natural, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks and chops directly to your door, without the hassle of going to the grocery store and fight crowds to pick from a small selection of average at best meats with injected steroids, fillers, and coloring added to look good. Find out what's for dinner at UpperCutChops.com or call 702-799-9935. That's 702-799-9935. 702-799-9935. Or make your selection directly at UpperCutChops. sportscircus.com.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm Roy Firestone. Now it's time to throw it back to Sal.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP.TV. This segment is brought to you in part by the Sports Circus. Make sure that you check out thesportscircus.com and see our upcoming guest schedule. Check out our partners. Lots of great partners. In fact, one of those is the College of Southern Nevada Athletics. Check them out at csncoyotes.com for upcoming games and events. That's csncoyotes.com for the College of Southern Nevada Athletics. All right, welcome in everybody listening in on our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates and independents from coast to coast, including our friends over in Honolulu on CBS Sports 1500 KHKA. That's home of the New York Yankees, the San Francisco 49ers, and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Welcome in to everybody else up and down the West Coast on Pick Your Favorite Affiliate, all the way over to Auburn, Alabama, WAUD, home of the Atlanta Braves, WDJY in Atlanta, 99.1 FM, and all of our other affiliates. Tell you what, folks, it's a very long list. I think our radio reach is about 215 stations. Our television reach on cable TV is really big. I just don't know how many affiliates are picking it up at one time. That's the whole thing, right? So they play into different schedules, different times, but also hotel TV in over 500,000 rooms from coast to coast. All right. Now that we got that out of the way and everybody else on Facebook, on Chicago Food Favorites, thanks for joining us. Guess what? We're going to continue on with this Florida State and Clemson discussion into the Big Ten or the SEC or the Big 12. I mean, look, money's being paid out to Notre Dame just for being, basketball-wise, in the ACC, which I'm sure if the ACC starts to fall apart, they're going to probably end up eventually, ultimately joining the Big Ten because they're right in the heart of Big Ten country. They've been resistant because of, I guess, the Notre Dame Broadcasting Company, and that would be NBC. I'm not really sure. But either way, that's a bad deal for the ACC because they give away a bunch of money to Notre Dame. And it really stinks for the rest of the ACC. In any event, if Florida State and Clemson decide to make a move, I don't think it's going to be to the Big 12 because the Big 12 is sort of a hodgepodge of other schools that it's kind of like the Island of Misfit Toys, right? And there are an original 6 members, whatever. But generally speaking, I don't believe the Big 12 is going to be a landing spot. Likely, it would be the SEC first, only because of proximity, and then the Big 10. But the Big Ten, I think, would like to get their hands on them. So that said, let's talk a little bit about the Big 12. Now, in case you don't know, this is according to CBS Sports. Look, the Big 12 parity is, it hasn't really been defined yet. And, of course, the expansion may prove the league's biggest strength in the expanded college football playoffs era. So you never really know what the hell's going to happen here with the, the Big 12 is really a mystery. It really is. So, nonetheless, if you look at all of these conferences as they pull together, you say, well, who wants to participate over there? I don't know. Why don't they just take Washington State and Oregon State as well and call it a day? This way they would completely wipe out what's left of the Pac-12, or better yet, the Pac-2. So, I don't know. Either way, it seems that the Big 12 is one of those conundrum conferences, and you're wondering, well, hey, what are they really trying to achieve over there? I don't know. It's just like a big gathering of teams. Like, hey, nobody wants us. Okay, it's kind of like we had a hockey team here that first started, and that was the Vegas Golden Knights, right? So when the Vegas Golden Knights started, everyone says, well, they're the Golden Misfits and all this other crap because nobody else wanted them. What do? The first year, they earned their way into the Stanley Cup final. They win Game 1, which luckily I was there. But the point is, at least they all found a way to get together. So here we are in Las Vegas yet again. But this time it's the Big 12 Conference. So according to CBS right here in Las Vegas, they say, how to put this delicately, the expanded Big 12's biggest strength might be its lack of collective history. The only two programs, Colorado and BYU, only those two have actually won national titles. That's the fewest among the Power 4 conferences. Notice how conveniently they left out Power 5. Assuming that the Pac-12 will not reorganize, reform, whatever. That means they're thinking that the Pac-12 will not have a mass migration from the Mountain West Conference, which I guess geographically seems to make a little bit of sense. But they don't have the academics across the Mountain West Conference at the level of what the Pac-12 had. So mathematically, academically, it's not necessarily possible. Moving on. With all that, and all the due respect, of course, to the Island of Misfit Toys, they say the Island of something else toys, doesn't matter. In this age of radical realignment, the Big 12 essentially has settled with 16 unwanted teams. And of course, while that sounds harsh, it can be viewed as a positive in these turbulent times. Why? Because that also signals security. And the Brotherhood grew increments recently with the conference's annual Media Days events. And of course, coaches allegedly were gushing about Dion prime time. I don't believe that whatsoever. I think they're just using him as a poster boy. Anyway, allegedly, they praised league favorite Utah as well. The original six, Kansas, Kansas State, Iowa State, Baylor, TCU, and Texas Tech Red Raiders. So they all looked around the room and agreed that it all looked pretty cool. I don't know what looks cool about that. Nonetheless, Iowa State coach Matt Campbell says, quote, I think it's a unique time in this conference. It's kind of a battle for who has longevity and who could stand out from the crowd. Close quote. Okay. Top heavy, the league ain't, according to CBS Sports. Whomever wins the Big 12 in its first season as the 16-team league will probably achieve something it never has in the past, and that's play for a national championship. So, never mind that eventually requiring wading through the 4 games under the new 12-team college football playoff format to actually win that, well, that's hardly the point now, isn't it? So who among the 16 would post a participation CFP banner in their indoor facility just for earning a spot in the field? Okay, so Kansas coach Lance Leopold told reporters at the Big 12 Media Days, quote, you guys know, we've been begging for this to happen for so long, close quote. Now, Kansas is among half a dozen teams in the league, maybe more, that have never had the opportunity to sell something like this. And the Jayhawks are coming off their 5th 9-win season in program history. 9 wins, not 12 wins, not 13 wins, 9 wins. You heard that right. Anyway, Leopold is one of the most sought-after coaches in the country, according to whom? I don't know yet. Having exited the Pac-12, winning 2 of the league's last 3 titles, Utah enters its first season as a Big 12 member favored to win the conference. Rose Bowl appearances aren't as coveted as college football playoff berths in this era, however. So in Arizona, if it can match last year's 10-win season, has a shot. So does Kansas State. Picked up a close second to Utah in the preseason poll, a worthless poll in my opinion. With the departure of Texas and Oklahoma to the SEC, Oklahoma State is perceived as the strongest existing program, but Mike Gundy and the Cowboys have won 1 conference title in 19 years. Yeah, that doesn't sound like a big hit to me, but what do I know? What about Iowa State and UCF? I like UCF. So Utah coach Kyle Whittingham said, quote, first of all, controlling your own destiny is the biggest key, not having to rely on anyone else to get you there. That's a first for us, close quote. In the first year of the expanded CFP, the top 5 ranked conferences and their champions automatically make the field. The top 4 ranked teams get a first-round bye. The highest-ranked group of 5 champion earns an automatic berth. Now, that leaves 6 at-large berths. So Commissioner Brett Yormark said, quote, It's not necessarily one berth. Maybe it's 2 or 3, close quote. Now, one can only dream. In the 10-year history of the CFP with Texas and Oklahoma as league members, the Big 12 accounted for only 6 of the 40 berths. That was second fewest among the Power 5. Expanding to 12 teams means access for everyone, though, kind of like a participation trophy. So Yormark added, quote, I don't think there's a face of the league. Every school brings value. Collectively, they create the narrative that we need. I don't think there's a face or an outlier program that effectively is carrying the torch. Just based off the parity of football, it kind of speaks to the depth and the breadth of the conference. That's okay. Over time, as we mature as a 16-team league, somebody ascends to the top, close quote. So Yormark, of course, spoke a lot about the parity at media days, but that could be a plus or maybe not so much a plus. You never know. Consider who the audience is, like anything else. I mean, think about this. The Pac-12 went 9 years between college football playoff appearances, both by Washington, and ended its existing with fewest CFP berths of any of the Power 5 conferences at 3 total. Oregon was the other candidate. And you used to be able to set your watch to November 1st in the Pac-12, the date on which each team had at least 2 losses, Well, guess what? The expanded CFP now means it meets everybody in the middle, apparently, allegedly. But you have to be perfect. You just can't win your league depending on the circumstances and the schedule strength. 2 losses might be enough to get a berth. And of course, Yormark also said more is at stake now, and that makes the season much more competitive. So look, you have to think about every other conference. It has a face. In fact, when we come back, let's take a look at those faces right here on the Sports Circus in just a few moments. Don't go anywhere. I'm your Ringmaster Sal of the Sports Circus, a primetime, nationally syndicated television, radio, sports, and entertainment show. The Sports Circus covers topics others are too scared to talk about. There's no other primetime show like it on here that'll punch you in the face and you'll beg for more. Join me, Hall of Famers, world champions, and all-star celebrity guests for chaos and controversy here on Libsyn and all podcast platforms, plus thesportscircus.com. Remember, folks, it's a circus and we prove it every day.
Hello Americans, it's Uncle Sam here. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes to the IRS or state, don't worry. I've got important news that may help you negotiate a lower tax bill. In today's economy, the IRS has released a variety of new rules and is offering more flexible terms to help Americans looking to settle their IRS debt. If you apply today, we may be able to lift your wage garnishments and release a freeze on your bank assets or business. Our team of tax professionals can resolve your case and stop collection actions against you. Even if you've been audited or haven't filed a return in years, they can help. Call right now and find out if you qualify to settle your IRS debt for far less than what you owe. Pick up your phone right now and call us for a free $500 IRS tax review. Don't wait. Here's the number.
Call right now. 800-950-2049. 800-950-2049. 800-950-2049. For the last time, that's 800-950-2049.
The old way of living with diabetes is a pain. You've got to remember to do your testing and always need to stick your fingers to test your blood sugar. The new way to live your life with diabetes is with a continuous glucose monitor. Apply a discrete sensor on your body, and it continuously monitors your glucose levels, helping you spend more time in range and freeing you from painful finger sticks. If you are living with type 1 or type 2 diabetes and you use insulin or have had hypoglycemic events, you might be eligible for a CGM through your insurance benefits. U.S. Med partners with over 500 private insurance companies and Medicare. We offer free shipping, 90-day supplies, and we bill your insurance. Call us today for a free benefits check.
800-659-7805. 800-659-7805. 800-659-7805. That's 800-659-7805.
That's ridiculous.
Quiet, numbskulls. I'm broadcasting.
Hey everyone, Dave Jackson here, ESPN rules analyst on ESPN Hockey, and you're listening to the Sports Circus.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP.TV. You know, folks, a lot of people ask, how'd you start this thing? I want to do my own show. I want to do a podcast. Of course, I put my fingers up in air quotes for podcast because it seems like everybody wants to have their own show. And I think that what I like about it is that people want to get their message out to the people. And I really like the idea. But they don't know how to do it. A lot of people don't know how to do it. They don't know how to, first of all, create content. They have ideas, but they don't know how to convey those into some kind of a format. Then they don't know how to organize it. Then they don't know how to work with a clock, because you have to have a clock. If you don't understand how the clock works, then you have a random amount of time, and maybe, I don't know, you have 20 minutes of content one day, 3 minutes another day, 75 minutes another day, whatever the case. If you need some structure and you need to learn, better yet, you want to learn how to put all of these pieces together to broadcast it, to edit, post-production, distribution, all those fun things, give me a call. I can help. 702-799-9935. 702-799-9935. 702-799-9935. Yes, I can help you. But at the same time, listen, I pick up that telephone right now, even if you want to participate in this discussion right now. I can do that, but you can't say any bad words, right? We don't want to get sent to the principal's office, right? So make sure that you don't use any bad language or anything like that. I'll put you right on air. I mean, there will be probably a small delay, and I'll have to somehow move the microphone away because there will be a little bit of reverb in here. But my point is, I'm willing to let people participate, and you never know where this is going to go. And you'll be surprised at some of the people that have called in the middle of the show, from Hall of Famers to world champions to Academy Award winners, whatever, Grammy Award winners, leading scientists from the concussion protocol world, you name it, man, they have called in. Political people as well, big political people, not just the little guys, right? And so, look, this show is... We stay away from politics, right? Sports and politics, we always want to keep it away, right? But we do cover certain issues, and we do handle news as well. But this right now is a sports and entertainment show, and that is exactly where we're going to keep it. We're going to continue on with this faces of the other conferences. So we talked a little bit about the Big 12 conference. It is a conference in college football, for example, without a face of the conference. I guess if you had to put one on right now, I don't know, you'd probably put Kansas or Kansas State or Iowa State, maybe. I don't know. I honestly don't really care who's on it. I like the fact that there's a nice mix of different teams in there. I certainly wouldn't put Colorado on there because Deion already gets enough pub by himself. He doesn't need to be the face of the Big 12 conference. But look, every other conference pretty much has a face. When you think of the SEC, I don't know, you think of what? Alabama, Georgia, LSU, Tennessee, that kind of thing. You think of the Big Ten, it's usually, and I'll precede it with a chorus of boos, Ohio State and Michigan, right? Now, in the ACC, it's typically Florida State and Clemson when it comes to football, and Duke and Carolina when it comes to basketball. So in the Big 12, it's to be determined, as I said. And look, 7 different teams have played in the conference championship since 2019. And Texas Tech coach Joe McGuire said, quote, "It's easy to say OU and Texas. I would say OU without a doubt. I'd say they're better. Texas had a phenomenal year last year, but you have some tradition that has left. But when you really look at it, OU was the one that really dominated this conference for a very long time. Close quote. Now, of course, there's room for everybody at this point. But you ask yourself, what are we really talking about? Are we going a direction where all of these conferences are going to be making changes? I mean, look, the Big 12 or the SEC, they've got their own issues. Yes. And it seems like the SEC, in my opinion, has more off-the-field issues on a regular than any other conference. I mean, come on. What are we talking about here? How about the latest? the latest in the SEC of what happens in the Southeast Conference. And honestly, it's a little befuddling. You look at Georgia, and you say, well, Mr. Mondone, Mr. Hewley are arrested on reckless driving charges in the latest traffic-related incidents. Now, 20 people associated with Georgia's program have been arrested since 2023. Is that the kind of face you want for the Southeast Conference? Absolutely not. Those guys get an astounding round of boos because, honestly, at some point they may end up hitting something and blowing it up. I don't really know what the hell's going to happen. But what I do know is Georgia seems to be one conundrum after another. So now Georgia linebackers, according to CBS Sports, Smail Mundan and offensive lineman Bo Hewley were arrested on separate traffic-related charges on back-to-back night. That includes reckless driving, according to police records. And, of course, Hewley was arrested by University of Georgia police recently for reckless driving and failure to maintain lane and failure to maintain lane and proper driving on the road. Mondon was booked yesterday for reckless driving and racing on highways and streets. Come on, man. This is stupid. When does it end? When does it? We'll have to ask Ian Rakelli of the Sports Angle. Maybe he has a different angle of this. I don't know. Anyway, the pair of arrests marks 20 separate incidents in which somebody associated with Georgia football and their program has been arrested for traffic-related offenses since January of 2023. What the hell's going on over there? I have no clue, but it is not good. I don't know, maybe they need an extra course in driver's ed or something. I'm not really sure, but either way, it's pretty bad. So, look, these guys were arrested, the third and fourth Georgia players respectively, to be arrested on charges of reckless driving since March. So, again, they have a driving problem, and I don't know, where does this come from? Is this a University of Georgia problem? Yes, it is. Is it a Georgia football problem? Yes, it is. It is a SEC problem as well. Because if this is one of the faces of the SEC, well, what is the message that they're trying to send to people? It's okay to drink and drive or reckless drive or whatever the hell they're doing and driving. I don't know if they're drinking and driving. My point is it okay to violate traffic laws? Let's just say it that way. Is it okay to violate traffic laws continually, habitually? I don't know. I mean, look, the list goes back a little bit further. Remember Trevor Etienne Jr.? Remember him? Now, he was detained in March for driving under the influence, reckless driving, and 2 other misdemeanor charges. And Etienne had the DUI-related charges dismissed as part of a July plea agreement, according to the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. This is stupid. This is completely stupid. And, of course, Mondon was a key figure in Georgia's defense in 2023 and is projected as a starter for 2024 season. And he earned second-team All-SEC honors after he piled up 68 tackles. Who cares? And, of course, we have some nice feedback here from the Sports Angle from Ian Rakelli. And he says, as long as the Georgia Bulldogs football team is winning championships, it will never be fixed or changed. The university will turn a blind eye and pretend it never happened. All right. That's some good insight from Ian Rakelli, and check him out at thesportsangle.com, if I'm not mistaken, thesportsangle.com. And that's our longtime friend, Ian Rakelli. All right. Nice round of applause again for Ian. But, when we think of these college football conundrums, and they really are that, you wonder, where does it end? I mean, look, we think of the National Football League. who has the most arrests. Now, most people don't know this. They'll guess, well, it's going to be the Raiders, right? Because of the mystique or whatever the hell it is about the Raiders. Maybe it's the Steelers. Maybe it's the Cowboys. Maybe it's this one. Maybe it's that one. Most people don't know that it's the Minnesota Vikings that have the most arrests. Believe it or not, it's the Vikings. And a lot of that actually happened from that boat incident from a handful of years back, however many it was. I don't even remember. But that was let's put it this way. A lot of people were scooped up and arrested from that. But outside of that, in college football, in college basketball, college sports, we're talking people that are 18, 19, 20, 21 years of age. What kind of examples are they setting for the kids that are watching them? Where's the discipline? What happens at home? Do these kids forget that they were taught manners and how to do certain things the right way at home? I don't know. Now, of course, we're broadcasting throughout the state of Georgia, and I'm kind of curious of this one. Anybody from Georgia has the nerve to call in and participate and give me a reasonable answer. But I have to tell you, I don't think there's anybody in the state of Georgia that even has an answer for this one. Because even the university doesn't, because if they did, they would have put out some kind of a statement that kind of mitigates this whole thing in the first place. But did the University of Georgia do that? Well, they did, because they have a PR department. But did they really satisfy the audience? I'm going to say, in my opinion, absolutely not. No, they just didn't do it. Let's just let the bad get worse. Let's go from disaster to debacle. Back here in a few minutes on the Circus for the final segment. We're going to shift into baseball. Don't go anywhere.
Can your IRA stand up to the next financial crisis that our top economists are saying is at our doorsteps? By allocating a percentage of your IRA into physical gold and silver with a tax-free rollover, you can diversify and safeguard your holdings from turbulent markets and economic downturns by putting your IRA back on the gold standard. Find out how to safeguard your assets with a tax-free rollover with a Genesis Gold IRA, the only IRA that can hold physical precious metals. Call now for your free gold and silver report. Protect your IRA today with one simple phone call and learn how to qualify for up to $10,000 in free silver. Call Genesis Gold Group, empowering faith-driven stewardship. 800-932-5517. 800-932-5517. 800-932-5517. That's 800-932-5517.
If you served in the Marine Corps, by now you know about the contaminated water problem at Camp Lejeune. If you were stationed or worked at Camp Lejeune from 1953 to 1987, you probably have a lot of questions. We have some answers. You could be entitled to compensation. Billions of dollars are being allocated to pay for damages to anyone stationed at Camp Lejeune during that time. Unfortunately, it appears that officials may have known the contaminated water problem existed and did little to protect their men. The Semper Fi Code was not honored. If you or someone in your family has developed a serious illness, including various forms of cancer, call this Camp Lejeune legal support line right now. You can't turn back the clock and change what happened, but you can certainly call right now and learn your rights as a Marine. Here's the number.
Call 800-335-7196. 800-335-7196. That's 800-335-7196.
That's the sound of sizzling, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks from UpperCutChops.com. Their best-in-class filet mignons, New York steaks, and the king of all steaks, the tomahawk and cowboy cut ribeyes are the best in the business. Even their Prime Wagyu burgers will likely be the best you've ever had. Browse the full selection of steaks and chops at UpperCutChops.com from the comfort of your home or on your mobile device. UpperCutChops.com delivers all-natural, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks and chops directly to your door. store without the hassle of going to the grocery store and fight crowds to pick from a small selection of average at best meats with injected steroids, fillers, and coloring added to look good. Find out what's for dinner at uppercutchops.com or call 702-799-9935. That's 702-799-9935. 702-799-9935. Or make your selection directly at uppercutchops.com.
Hey everybody, this is Brian Urlacher. Welcome back to the Sports Circus.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP.TV. Of course, a big welcome back to everybody watching on Cox, Comcast, Spectrum, Frontier, Time Warner, Oceanic, and WOW Cable Television, as well as hotels. In hotels, 210 markets, I believe. It's about 570,000 rooms now on Hotel TV in all Nielsen-rated markets, by the way, and upscale resorts and hotels with the really nice stuff. I can't say which ones, but you probably know where they're at, and we're even right here in Las Vegas as well. And of course, welcome back to everybody listening in on our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates and independent radio stations from coast to coast. And this segment brought to you in part by our friends at Chicago Food Favorites on Facebook. Everybody watching on Chicago Food Favorites, thanks for joining us over there. And of course, make sure you post your favorite restaurants and your favorite foods and your favorite recipes, even the ones you don't like. Hey, I don't like this because of whatever. That's okay. You could do that too. I'm the moderator. I created it. It's free. It's for fun. And let's face it, that's all we're trying to do is talk about food, look at food, get hungry, hopefully not eat too much, if you know what I mean. But we're trying to have a little bit of fun with it from foods that maybe we grew up with back in the Midwest that other people have migrated across the country and all over the place, and they participate literally from around the globe on Chicago Food Favorites on Facebook. So make sure you participate, follow it, like it, and have some fun with it. All right, nice round of applause. Yes! That's my patented yes! So don't misuse it. All right. In the baseball world, something very near and dear to me, I have a real problem with analytics. A real problem with analytics and the way that they're used, especially when it comes to pitching, as something I used to do 100 years ago. And it bothers me when I see so much emphasis put on these analytics, such as pitch count. Well, your pitch count, you have 74 pitches. We're only going to let you go to 100 pitches or some crap like that. Instead of using the eye test. Well, they're hitting the ball hard off of this guy. The exit velocity average is 98 when it should be more like 73 or some BS like that. Some loser that's never played a game of baseball in their life. They've never even put a jockstrap on, let alone put a uniform on or face pitching ever in their life, is making these ridiculous analyses as law. And I have a real problem with this. There's something in baseball called the eye test. When a pitcher is missing up, they're missing their target but up, the release point is off. Chances are they're getting a little bit tired, right? So they maybe release the ball just a hair a little bit early, right? That's just one of the eye tests. And so one of the bigger problems is, they don't let these pitchers, we're talking the managers and the pitching coaches, they don't let the pitcher stay in to do what? Face adversity. There's another issue. Because you get stronger as the game goes on. If you overcome something, maybe you had ducks on the pond, you had runners at second and third with one out or something like that, two guys in scoring position. In the middle of the game, maybe you're in the fifth inning and you've got two guys on, one out, maybe first and third or second and third or something like that. One run could come in on a pass ball even, or could come in on a sac fly or a fielder's choice or something like that. So the managers are trying to mitigate the risk of having extra runs come across at the expense of the psyche of the pitcher in the first place. And I think that is an absolute no-no. That should never happen in baseball. No! It's almost like they say, well, there's no crying in baseball. You're right. And it's almost like that's what the managers are doing inside, because why? Their paycheck is involved here. But guess what? So is the pitcher's paycheck. So is the catcher's paycheck. But the catcher makes a mistake. There's a passed ball. Well, somehow it looks like the pitcher is responsible for that. But no, that was the catcher's fault. The point is, with all this, there's so much, so much crap, so much analysis, so much weight being put on these analytics. And this drives me crazy. Here you've got a superstar, a bona fide superstar in Paul Skenes. Man, this guy gets out there and, man, he is dealing. When I mean he's dealing, this guy is throwing strikes and he's throwing it past everybody. He's making people swing and miss. I mean, he is just on fire. Well, guess what? Pittsburgh Pirates, that's who he plays for. They said, you know what? Tell you what, we're going to let you go deep into a game, but we're not going to let you finish the game. How about this one? This is by CBS Sports. Pirates phenom Paul Skenes sets a rookie record, joins Nolan Ryan in history, but the bullpen blows up the no-hitter. What? Oh, yeah. Hot off the press. So here we go, folks. I mean, this is remarkably upsetting. Now, I've been a part of a no-hitter, and I've had a team. My team got a triple play for me when I was on the Hill one time, and that in itself was just lunacy. But this takes the cake. This is ridiculous. Pittsburgh Pirates righty, according to CBS Sports, Paul Skenes, who already made history earlier in the week by becoming the first player in Major League Baseball history to be selected to the All-Star game the summer after being drafted, made some more of it, in fact, Thursday afternoon, in just his 11th Major League start. And the rookie phenom tossed 7 no-hit frames against the Brewers before the bullpen, and specifically Colin Holderman, took over and allowed an immediate single to Jake Bauers to lead off the 8th inning. Give me a damn break. There goes the no-no. And inside, this guy's got to be losing his mind. If I was Paul Skenes, I would have lost my you-know-what. Oh, yeah. So the only blemish on Skenes' day was a second-inning walk to Brewers outfielder Garrett Mitchell. Big deal. So he didn't have a perfect game. But he had a no-no going. Otherwise, he established a new Pirates franchise record with his 8th consecutive start of 7+ strikeouts. Not 7+ innings, 7+ strikeouts. That's pretty damn good. In fact, he generated 11 swinging strikes as part of that analytics BS. He generated 11 swinging strikes, including 5 on a sinker, a pitch that he added to his arsenal this spring. Who gives a damn how many swinging strikes? A strike is a strike is a strike. Get over it, analytics people. This is stupid. Now, Holderman got in and out of trouble into the 8th, and Aroldis Chapman came in and closed out the 9th for the 1-0 win. The point is, Paul Skenes has a tremendous arm. Let this kid go out and get his no-no. Imagine being a rookie out there, and he's on the brink of going to the All-Star game. He should be starting for the All-Star, for the National League All-Stars. Nonetheless, but imagine being yanked out of a game when you are just flat dealing. You can't miss. You really can't miss. Anyway, of course, that start marked the second time in the season that Skenes had thrown at least 6 no-hit innings to begin a game. That's pretty damn good. Now, we saw that kind of performance a couple of years ago from Carlos Rodon when he was with the White Sox. Of course, then he goes to the Yankees and he falls on his face. Anyway, that tied him with Max Fried and Ronald Blanco for the most in the majors. And, of course, do know that Skenes did not debut in the majors until mid-May. He also, yes, he's also the only player in Baseball Reference's database to have had multiple 6+ innings, no-hit starts as a rookie. On top of it, that in itself deserves an astounding round of applause. Wow. Both American and National League history, he and only Nolan Ryan are the only pitchers to record multiple starts of at least 6 innings in which they allowed no hits and racked up at least 11 strikeouts. Now, Skenes is only 22, and he went into this game having compiled a 2.12, a sparkling 2.12 ERA. And, of course, that's pretty damn good. And he's 6.5 strikeouts to walk ratio, which 2-1 was always the good number, right? Then it was 3-1. But this guy's at 6.5-1. That's nuts. Anyway, that's over his first 10 big league starts. And his season ERA is down to 1.9, a minuscule 1.9. That's unbelievable. Of course, earlier CBS Sports provided a breakdown of 4 things that they've learned during this introduction to the majors for him. Now, the Pirates still have not thrown a no-hitter since Francisco Cordova and Ricardo Rincon combined for one against the Astros in 1997. Yeah, or almost 27 years ago to the date. If Skenes and the Pirates had closed out that effort, it would have been, of course, represented as the 7th in franchise history, but the others were thrown by Nick Maddox in 1907, Cliff Chambers in 1951, Bob Moose in 1969, Doc Ellis, the great Doc Ellis, in 1970, and, of course, the Candyman, John Candelaria, in the bicentennial year of 1976. And, of course, this Major League season continues to have had just one no-hitter completed, and that was by Blanco on April 1st of all days. I mean, come on, April Fool's Day? How appropriate. And that was against the Blue Jays, who seem to be in selling mode at this point. Now, of course, others, including Blanco, have come very close, but they haven't gotten it done. So speaking of the trades real quick, Major League Baseball's amateur draft is only days away. We know that, but guess what? We have trades and we have chaos going on here. In fact, Max Scherzer says that he doesn't want to waive his no-trade clause. He's staying put. And he even says to A.J. Pierzynski, quote, yeah, I'm not going to do that. We're going to play better baseball. It's going to be a moot point to even talk about it. We're going to win here, close quote. So he doesn't want to go nowhere. But let's think about what else is going on. The Blue Jays are prepared to sell, according to CBS Sports. Unless the Blue Jays go on a tear over the next couple of weeks, they're prepared to sell at the deadline, according to Major League Baseball and Mark Feinsand. So, in fact, Feinsand adds that the Blue Jays have told other teams that they intend to trade their impending free agents, but that they'll have to hold on to players with team control beyond that, including apparently shortstop Bo Bichette and first baseman Vladdy Guerrero Jr. Now, provided the Blue Jays stand by that stance, that leaves them shopping around the likes of Justin Turner, Danny Jansen, and starter Kikuchi, who's a pretty good one, and reliever Garcia, among others. So look, what are we talking about here? I don't know. Some trades, maybe? What do you think? How about the Giants? The Giants, are they going to play it safe? Or are they going to go crazy? I don't know. According to CBS, they say, the Giants are going to basically play it safe. They're 3 games under 500. And that puts them only 2.5 back in the hunt for the National League wild card. Yet it doesn't sound like the Giants intend to make many major moves at the deadline, according to a top executive. So their executive told the San Francisco Chronicle, when I look at our team, we have pretty solid players at every spot on the field. We have a rotation that's getting healthier and a bullpen that's done a nice job, so nothing jumps out as a spot where we need an emergency plug-in, close quote. So the Giants have continued to deal with several notable injuries, including Jung-Ho Lee, Robbie Ray, Alex Cobb, and Keaton Winn. So both Ray and Cobb are out on rehab and suggesting that their return is pretty close. But you think about this free agency thing. Again, what is it? It's a money grab. The whole thing is all about show me the money. Yes. It's always show me the money. It's always the same damn thing. But the Giants typically don't spend a lot of money at the deadline, so it'll be very interesting. Kind of like the Pirates. They don't really do a lot, but the Pirates are in the thick of things. And the New York Metropolitans, but you can call them the Mets, those guys have been on a tear lately, and they have vaulted themselves into the wild card picture. Look for the New York Mets to be buying rather than selling at the trade deadline. Anyway, folks, that's going to do it for today's show. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, and we'll see you next time, maybe in about 23 hours. So until then, so long, everyone.
Can your IRA stand up to the next financial crisis that our top economists are saying is at our doorsteps? By allocating a percentage of your IRA into physical gold and silver with a tax-free rollover, you can diversify and safeguard your holdings from turbulent markets and economic downturns by putting your IRA back on the gold standard. Find out how to safeguard your assets with a tax-free rollover with a Genesis Gold IRA, the only IRA that can hold physical precious metals. Call now for your free gold and silver report. Protect your IRA today with one simple phone call and learn how to qualify for up to $10,000 in free silver. Call Genesis Gold Group, empowering faith-driven stewardship. 800-932-5517. 800-932-5517. 800-932-5517. That's 800-932-5517.